Coach, back here, Michael Luongo, AB broadcast, back here to your left, sir. Right, thank you. Could you just talk about, again, not being able, you had a lead late, just not being able to find a way to close it out, and now you're in a kind of a tough spot right now, down to 3, but every game you've had leads late, and just not being able to get the closeout punch.
Yeah, there's some key turnovers at the end. We all know what they are. Hurt us. The Celtics defense I thought was excellent, and on 2 plays that really do stand out. You wish you had those back.
Brett, over here to your right. Rohan at Carney Sports Illustrated. What's your approach when it comes to getting Joel his post touches versus kind of quickening the pace like you guys were in the regular season?
I mean, you walk that line of the game needs to be slowed down because he needs a touch, and you walk a line that movement trumps that feeling, and so somewhere in the middle, you figure it out. And I think for me, it's you recognize that Aaron Baines and Al Horford really do a really good job on him. So trying to find different ways, better ways to get him touches is more on my mind than at times the frequency of it.
Brett, to your left. Mike Sealski from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Ben grabbed that late rebound off of the Joel miss.
With 19 seconds.
Yes.
Yes.
And went right back up with it.
Yeah.
And just said now to us that he felt like that was the right thing to do. That's a shot he makes in practice all the time. It was instinct. What did you think of that? I mean, would there be more value in kicking it out, running some clock? What do you think happened?
There would be, but I respect his. I mean, it's a smart question, and it should be a question that he should ask. I think that if it was a point blank dunk, you probably would take that, but he didn't do it. It's true he makes that all the time in practice. There's 19 seconds left. If we had it again, you'd probably bring it back out and let him chase you and foul it and chew up the clock. But on so many levels, Mike, this being one of them, or examples, it's the thing that I see and feel the most and sort of internally hear the loudest, that our young guys at times, look young, and we're going to have to find places in this experience and learn from it, and that's a great example of one of them.
Brett, to your left. Marcus Hayes, Philadelphia Daily News. Is it just that? Is it just that the young guys played young at the end of this game, and specifically, there's one play that in regulation, I think JJ turned the ball over, but it looked like there was some confusion at the top of the key. Can you address that play?
Sure.
Maybe elucidate a little bit more on the...
There's no confusion. There's no confusion. It's a play. I mean, I know you've seen us play a lot, so you would have seen it 8 times every game for 88 games. And it's no confusion. It was just the Celtics bent JJ over, and defensively did a good job, and we threw it away. And it wasn't confusion.
Can you speak a little bit more? Do you think that you guys can get past this in this series, or do you think the youth, or do you think that it's just...
No, and the last thing I want to do is lean on youth. I don't want to do that. I give credit to the Boston Celtics. They played in the Eastern Conference Championship last year with, a handful of the players that they have. We are navigating through this. This isn't entirely a youthful thing at all. Nobody write that. This is something that some of the matchups have hurt us. I respect their positional defensive athleticism, and switchable people. And so that's the story. It definitely is not the youth. I do think, when the lights go out, I will think it is in many ways. Joel's going to learn a lot. Ben Simmons is going to learn a lot. It's painful admitting that now, but there is some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that.
Brett, Sarah Todd, Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly.com. Bellinelli obviously had that shot to send it into overtime. Wanted to get your comments on that and how that was feeling in that moment. But also, he had the final shot in overtime. What were you looking to get out of that play?
Well, the one in regulation, you know, we had drawn to be a walk-off three. You know, let's just walk-off three. And I thought it was. I mean, I actually left the court. And the play at the end, you know, when you go through, like even in regulation, Ben got stuck on a sideline and burned a timeout, you know, and you wished you had that back in regulation. We had used our timeouts in overtime, and it's just a situational play when you don't have a timeout. How can you advance the ball? How do you find something the length of the court? And we drill it a lot. We drill it a lot. And, you know, we got our look out of it. It wouldn't have surprised me if he made that shot. He makes those types of shots. But it's something that we practice without a timeout when you have to move the ball the length of the court.
Brett, Steve Belfort, Boston Herald. How surreal was that situation at the end of regulation with the confetti and they're having to take time to sweep the floor to start over? It just seemed rather strange. What was it like for you?
Well, initially, because you think you've just won the game, let's just start with that. And then, you know, you come back on and, you know, there's confetti. It's not horrible. You know, you move on. It slows the game down a lot, but you move on. You know, years ago, you might remember when Ginobili hit the bat flying around the gym out of midair. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That took some time off the clock as well. That's amazing. If you ever get bored, go back and look at the YouTube clip of Ginobili hitting a bat out of midair. And, you know, the confetti's coming down, and I'm more thinking about, I wish it was a three-point shot than I am the confetti.
Coach, Michael Longo, KP Broadcast again. Just talk about the situation you find yourselves in right now. What do you want from the board and the team going into game 4 on Monday?
I think, and this interests me as much as anything, teams that are down 3-0 have a record of 129-0. Now think about that. And if I'm wrong, you can have to speak to Patty, because that was given to me before I went into our locker room. And so just think about that number. And the number to me, 0, happens more out of spirit than talent. Like, there's a breaking point we all have. And I believe that if we can maintain our spirit, why couldn't we be the one? And I mean that. And, you know, that's my goal with us, is to fight, to keep our mind believing some of what I just said, I hope all of it, and let their bodies recover and give us a chance. And that's all I know. I can't see any other way to approach this that makes sense to me, and so that's what we're going to do.
Brett, Howard asking WIP and Fox 29 right here, Brett. You said you don't want to blame it on you, but are the expectations of this city and these people too high for too much for a young team, and have they handled that well?
This city?
Yeah.
This is the thing, though, that makes the city great. You know way better than what I know, but this is my 5th year. They are just passionate. They just want to win. And when you win 17 games in a row, and then you win 4-1 against a good Miami Heat team, there are expectations, and in many ways, rightfully so. What we've all learned is when you get into matchups, they can contradict and challenge recent form. The regular season is very different than the playoffs. We understand that. And the fact is, the Boston Celtics do expose some of our weaknesses. They can defend positionally quite well all by themselves. The abundance of three-point shots that we were used to getting in the regular season and a little bit in the minor doesn't happen as frequently. You know, Joel has two elite defensive players in Al Horford and Aaron Baines as an example that he just got to figure out. And it's physical, and so somewhere with all of that, I think I understand the city. I get the city, and so be it. Then I put my basketball hat on and I say, you know, we've seen this. Sometimes you get into a bad matchup, and we have to perform better. There is no doubt about that. I am not leaning on the youth. I'm the coach. I'll take responsibility for all of this. But there are portions of what I have just said that I know to be true.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, everybody.
And being that